Welcome to Spotlight. I'm your host, Jane Wernette. Today I'm joined by three local nonprofits, Metropolitan Family Services DuPage, the Grow Wellness Foundation, and Our Children's Homestead.
Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor, UC Bank.
You're watching Spotlight, and joining me now from Metropolitan Family Services DuPage are Lisa Bourne and Kara Siebert. So nice to have you both with us.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Lisa, let's talk a little bit about your mission. Give me an update.
So really our mission is about strengthening our communities and serving the residents of DuPage County. We provide services to anybody in DuPage County, and with a focus really on self-sufficiency and personal growth. It's really important that we stay nimble, that we're able to pivot when needed so that we can keep our eye on the changing needs of the clients that we serve. And I think a great example of that is our new open access walk-in clinic.
Okay.
It's just a great example of Metropolitan Family Services and what we believe in. And it's about opening our doors to anybody in need.
Okay, I love that. And where's it located?
Our primary location is out of our Woodridge location.
Okay.
And again, we are targeting the Lisle area right now, but we look to expand funding and expand the opportunity to offer that service in all other locations.
That's great. Well, accessibility is so important, right?
Yes, and breaking down barriers. Huge focus on breaking down barriers and just making it easier for our clients to access any service that they need.
That's great. So, Kara, as Lisa's talking about that mission, you think about the future vision. What excites you about it?
I'm really excited about the continued growth and expansion of our general behavioral health program, which is where our open access clinic is part of that. About 3 years ago, we transitioned that program into a new model, which we call our team-based care model, where we provide behavioral health services to residents of DuPage County using a team of master's level social workers and counselors, case managers, and recovery support specialists to be able to really support the client in a more comprehensive wraparound way.
Okay.
And to see that program start to grow and our clients respond really well and be able to meet their needs has been so exciting. And then adding the open access clinic as just another way to serve the residents of DuPage County it's been more successful than we could have imagined. And like Lisa was saying, we're out of our Woodridge office. We started targeting the Lisle area. We're hoping to expand to virtual services, have some drop-in support groups, and continue to provide the service to any resident that might just have a behavioral health need. It doesn't have to be somebody in crisis. It could be somebody that decided they're ready to ask for support, and now's the time for that.
Okay. Well, I think that's always so important too, right? Because, if you do a little bit of an ounce of prevention, it avoids having to do a whole pound of cure, right? So that opportunity to have access, where that's not a hurdle for me to get over, maybe we start small and we can take care of things while they're a little bit not in crisis, right? Yeah. Kind of following up on that, Lisa, initiatives, and it sounds like you've got quite a lot going. Yeah. What are the things that you're excited about that are happening this year?
Yeah. So before we move forward, I just wanted to highlight that we are celebrating 95 years of service in DuPage County this year.
Well done.
It's amazing, hard to believe, but we have been providing some type of behavioral health service since 1950. And at our annual gala this year, A Night to Stand Up for Families, we were able to not only highlight a client and her success and her family's success, but also those who support us, and really be able to showcase our impact. Moving forward, like I said, one of the things that we're really focused on this year is raising awareness around the open access clinic. We want to make sure that everybody knows that we're available. People have such varying needs. We need them to know that they can come really for anything. The open access clinic really kind of stemmed from keeping an eye on our wait list. There's a lot of people that are seeking services, and several years ago, our wait list was up to over 300 people.
Wow.
And so when I say just really reducing barriers and making sure that our services are accessed faster is really, really important. And this open access clinic helps us do that.
Okay, that's great. I mean, that's a big waiting list
Yes.
for people who want help and can't get it. And
Yes.
that's got to be incredibly frustrating on both sides. I know
It is.
you, as givers of service, are frustrated with that as much as those wanting it.
Yeah,
right?
we really believe in so many of our service areas that if people are calling for services today, it's because they need services today.
Yeah.
Not in a month and certainly not in 6 months.
Yeah, no, very, very true. Well, talk a little bit, Carrie, about maybe some common misperceptions that people have about your organization. I mean, obviously it's been around a long time, so I think people know it, but what are some of the common misperceptions?
Sure. So since COVID, we've definitely seen an increase in mental health awareness. However, there is still a stigma that's attached to that. And what we are trying to get across and just make sure that is well known is that taking care of your mental health is just as important as taking care of your physical health. And we would like to help support anyone that needs that help taking care of their mental health. We have recovery support specialists who are individuals that provide services that have embarked on their own behavioral health journey toward recovery. And those individuals are instrumental in helping support our clients in sharing their stories and instilling hope.
Yeah, well, I think sometimes when you see it, it's one thing when you're talking to somebody who knows how to support you in a very much more clinical way, right? But as somebody who's actually walked the walk and done the work, that's got to be very helpful.
Yes.
Yeah, a peer, somebody who's been where you've been. Yeah. Lisa, talk a little bit about where you're going as far as adaptation. Again, you've talked about the fact that you're 95, you not personally 95 years old, but the organization is 95 years old. How are you continuously, above and beyond the clinic, how are you adapting to the evolving needs of your clients?
Yeah, so in addition to behavioral health services, early learning services, we are the only comprehensive domestic violence service provider in all of the county.
Okay.
So again, it's really important that we break down any walls that we can in order to make sure people have access to that. Last year, we served over 60,000 people in DuPage County. Wow. Yeah, a lot of people.
That's a heavy number.
We have quite a reach.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we're noticing this year is the increased need for children and youth services. And so that has been on our radar. And we're actually working on a new project that brings behavioral health services to families and children under the age of 5.
Okay.
And so that is one of our big initiatives that we're going to be really putting all of our efforts into.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's a big initiative.
Yes. It is.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
I want to thank you both for coming on, and also thank you for the good work that you're doing on behalf of DuPage County and people who need that access to all kinds of behavioral health, and certainly the work you're doing with domestic violence victims. That's always a very heavy topic, and we're grateful for that support. And congratulations on 95
Thank
years.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes. Thank you.
Absolutely. And if you would like to learn more about Metropolitan Family Services DuPage, please go and visit their website. We're going to take a quick break, but stay tuned. We're coming right back with more Spotlight.
Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor, UC Bank.
This is the run my own business dream. This is the college is paid for dream. This is the retire early dream. This is Busey, where your dreams and possibilities become moments through trusted guidance and expertise, through lifelong relationships. Because we're here to help you achieve the life you've always envisioned.
Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor, UC Bank.
If you're just tuning in, you're watching Spotlight. I'm your host, Jane Wernette, And joining me now from the Grow Wellness Foundation are Adam Ratner and Zach Larson. So nice to have you both on the show.
Thank you, Jane. I appreciate you having us.
Absolutely. Now, this is a newer organization, and I'm always excited to talk to newer organizations. Give me a little bit about why you started Grow Wellness Foundation.
Yes. We started Grow Wellness Foundation in 2022, and it was as a result of things that we were not able to do as a part of the for-profit side of our business. And some of those, we were already doing our best to be able to offer based on the values that Wendy and myself have, and our reasons for starting Grow Wellness Group in the first place. But some of those reasons were mass accessibility to care, regardless of insurance carrier, regardless of socioeconomic status. We believe that mental health is a right, it's not a privilege that everybody should get. We should be able to take care of ourselves both mentally and physically, and there should be a differentiation between the two.
Okay.
And so essentially the foundation was born out of one major email that we got and we knew we could not take because we were not contracted with their insurance.
Okay.
And it was from a 14-year-old that emailed us for both services for herself and services for her 12-year-old sister.
Wow.
And we essentially had to say, we're not a network with your insurance provider. And that was before the foundation existed, so there really wasn't much we could do. And so Wendy and I just kind of sat in the office afterwards, and we just looked at each other and like, we have to do more. Like, there must be more that we could do. This is both second career for both of us, and really we started Grow Wellness in the first place just to make an impact in the community that we love. And essentially the foundation has been the conduit that has allowed us to be able to do that. So in terms of mission, it is basically on a community level, how can we best support Naperville and the surrounding counties with their mental health and break down barriers to care, whether it be stigma, whether it be accessibility, and whether it be like just integration into the entire care model that includes physical.
Okay. Well, that's a good reason to get started, right? And probably a really hard email to sit on the end of, I'm quite sure.
Yeah, I mean, that was the painful one, but I think we needed the painful one.
Yeah, sometimes that's where good ideas come from, right? Mother of invention, necessity.
Indeed.
Zach, you're on the board. You're a parent, so I'm sure that email doesn't make you feel great, right? But you've stepped up and you're on the board. What are the focused areas for the Grow Wellness Foundation?
Yeah, that email is at the heart of why we're doing this. There's a great group of community members that have stepped up to join the board, and it's about expanding access to care. Mental health shows up in different ways at different times for all people. I'm a picture of someone who's struggled with mental health. And as I went through a period of time, I had easy access to care. I had great professionals I could reach out to. And I was able to work through things, and although it doesn't go away, I learned ways to cope with it. And I know there's people that can't access that care. They don't know where to turn. And so Grow Wellness Foundation wants to be a beacon in the community that says, if you're struggling, there's a place you can turn to. So we're going to expand access, try to reduce stigma of what mental health looks like, and we're going to meet people where they are. And where they are, workplaces, schools, community organizations. And so our board has said, how can we reach out to those places? And Adam will talk a little bit about that, but we've had some very great collaborations with different community members.
Yeah, and that's such an important part, right? You know, creating that network. Access is important. It's not in isolation. It's through a network within the community. Talk a little bit about some of the programs and the impact you've been having since you started.
Yeah, so since we started in 2022, we really did hit the ground running. One of the biggest ways that we've been able to make an impact is taking certain services, therapy, counseling, group services, to actual venues where we can meet people and make that immediate impact, whether it be schools, whether it be other nonprofit institutions, whether it be on site at our own location.
Okay.
We have probably served over 200 students, I think, at this point, give or take, and about 117 different people individually, ages 12 and up.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think too, right, with those schools, it's, you know, transportation is always an issue. When you're 12, you can't drive yourself, right? So you being situated right there, and you start to build yourself into that fabric, right?
Yeah, and that's the big barrier.
Yeah.
So sometimes we assume it's solely economic, the ability to pay, and in many cases, the parents could be working, they don't have a way of getting to any therapist's office, any counselor's office, to be able to get the support that they need.
Yeah.
And so by meeting them at the school, we can meet them where they're at in a comfortable environment. And this isn't a service that exists right now.
Zach, talk a little bit about the crucial elements for you for the success of Grow Wellness Foundation.
Yeah, one of those is meeting people where they need that care. And so we talked about the schools. My wife and I have 4 teenage boys, and sometimes there are traumatic things that happen in people's lives. Sometimes it's just life that happens, and they need someone to talk to but don't know where to turn. We got to hear from the therapist who works at Metea Valley High School, and she spoke all about relationships. She's trying to build trust and relationship with the students. 2 of our boys go to Metea. Actually, we've had 2 there for a long time, kind of a successive filler of that school. But the relationships that a professional can key in on right when someone needs it is crucial.
Yeah.
The second thing is collaboration. We work with partners in the community that are already servicing mental health needs. Max's Mission, SamariCare, Little Friends who are meeting people where they are. We don't have to do it all, and we realize that.
Yeah, I love that because that's really through collaboration, the amplification of everybody's impact, right? You know, we don't need to all be trying to do the same things. When we collaborate together, we maximize the impact that we're all able to have, right? Yeah, that's awesome. And well done for getting with 4 teenage boys. That in and of itself requires a little mental health stability, right?
Yes.
All joking aside, Adam, as you look to the next 3 to 5 years, what are the priorities? Where do you see yourself being?
Look, I would say outside of increasing grant funding and fundraising endeavors, increasing strategic partnerships, continuing to build our relationships with various legislators and policy makers and decision makers that are in the area. We had a great breakfast a couple weeks ago where we were able to come together as a community and talk about the major pain points and how we can come together and address them. And I think that's huge. It takes a village to really move the needle, and we're starting to build a pretty good village.
Yeah.
In terms of services to be offered, I would love to triple the number of people that we're serving on a one-on-one basis. I'd love to get into more schools. And we would love to have more community-based programming where we are providing more psychoeducation surrounding mental health wellness.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an important topic, and I think, just having sat here coming out of COVID, we saw that did move the needle. I think the conversation became a little more free as more and more people were sort of isolated and feeling that, but we got a long way to go, right?
Yeah, we got a long way to go.
Yeah. Thank you so much for all the good work that you're doing, and it's a good mission, and looks like you got a great team working on it.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. And to find out more about the Grow Wellness Foundation, please go and visit their website. We're going to take a quick break, but stay tuned. We're coming right back with more Spotlight.
Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor, Busey Bank.
This is the When Art Flourishes, Everyone Flourishes commitment. This is the Let's Revitalize Our Neighborhoods commitment. This is the Roll Up Our Sleeves and Pitch In commitment. This is Busey, where our commitment to strengthen our communities is a top priority. Through energetic, engaged volunteers, through monetary support and advocacy. Because Busey is more than a bank that does well, we're a bank that does good.
Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor, Busey Bank.
Welcome back to Spotlight. And joining me now from Our Children's Homestead are Marissa Allen and Troy Reeves. Welcome to the show. Nice to have you.
Thank you, Jane. Nice to be here.
Yeah,
Nice to be
we're
here.
going to start right out with you and your mission.
Sure. We are a foster care agency here in Naperville. This year we are celebrating our 30th anniversary. We're very excited about that.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. And so we work with the Department of Children and Family Services with children who have been abused or neglected. And we provide them with foster homes and services and help support them in that way. Most of the kids that we serve are 12 and older and have mental health issues. Okay. So we serve a very specific population, what we like to say some of the most challenging kids in the state of Illinois.
Okay.
And our mission is to strengthen and support families and children during some of their most difficult and trying times.
Okay.
And our goal really is to just hope that all kids are always safe and that families remain connected.
I love that. That's an
Yeah.
important thing. And so
Yeah.
you're doing both the placement and the support of that. Is that, am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, we are. We have foster homes throughout the greater Chicagoland area. I would say probably around 100 active foster homes. Right now we
Okay.
have about 100 and anywhere between 120, 125 kids at any given time. And those children are placed in the foster homes, and then our caseworkers monitor them, support, ensure services are getting met, that they're safe in the home. Supporting the foster parent as well and caring
Okay.
for the child. So,
Okay, yeah. That's a big job.
yes.
It's a big job. Troy, talk a little bit about the greatest needs that you have as an organization against that mission.
Sure, Jane. Yeah, well, that is our biggest need. I think people need, we need therapists, we need workers. Every place needs that. What we need more than anything is foster homes.
Yeah.
We are foster home driven. We need a place in all different neighborhoods, all different counties, from Winnebago to Lake to Cook. Well, all these different counties that we serve, we need to find foster homes, and we need to have families willing to take in these children and love and care and be able to nurture them. And we provide the training for them. We try to wrap as many services around them, but we just need people to step up and even ask questions.
Okay.
I mean, go to the website, ask questions. There's somebody there waiting. We have a recruiter. And if you there's no dumb question, but we just need people to care and to reach out and at least be willing to give a chance or at least ask a few questions.
Okay. Let me ask, you've raised two questions immediately in my mind, which is, one is, I would assume, but tell me if I'm wrong, that you try to place children close to where they're originally from. Would that be a true statement?
We make every effort. The issue with our kids is that they have special needs. So their
Okay.
needs outweigh
The
being
location.
close to their,
I got it.
area of origin. But when we can, we do. And you can imagine why.
Yeah.
Kids are connected to schools. Kids are connected to friends and neighborhoods and doctors. And so if they can remain in those neighborhoods, it's less traumatic than having to
Sure.
start all
Correct.
over
Yeah.
again in a new area. So yes, we do try to do that. Unfortunately, it's not always possible.
Got that. And then the other question that you immediately make me think of is sort of, and I suppose it depends on the age of the children, but what does that typical foster period look like?
The easy answer at the end would be they age out usually around at 21 years old. So depending on what age that we get them, it depends. And they may have to hop around from home to home. They may not be in that home the whole entire time.
Okay.
So but it's really unbelievable to watch when they find the right home.
Yeah.
It's very it tugs at the old heartstrings, and it's nice. And sometimes it takes a while to find
Okay.
that home. Other times, they go to the one home and they stay there. So they could be there a duration of years. It could be months. But then you have people who, again, once they get to that age, they're able to stay at that house.
Yeah.
And they're able
Okay.
to, because they've established a family there. If they go away to school, they can come back
Come
to
back.
that family.
Yeah.
So yeah, the duration is all over the place. But like I said, we try to choose as carefully as possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
And try to find the right fit.
Yeah. Well, you're trying to find the right home,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I think I love how you use that word. It's a home.
Exactly.
What are some of the common misperceptions of what you do?
I think that a lot of times people have a negative connotation of the Department of Children and Family Services and foster care. And I think sometimes those who've experienced it and others that just maybe observe it think that kids are just taken from their parents. And really what we want people to understand is that we strongly believe that kids should be raised by their parents, by their families.
Absolutely.
There are times when that's not always possible, and so foster care is a way to support those biological parents while they get the help that they need. Our goal always is to reunite the child with the parent. Families belong together. And so that's what we try to do every day. Sadly, with a lot of our kids, they're older, their challenges are more significant, their parents also have their own issues. And so many times what we do is work with older kids to find an adoptive home or a home that can retain guardianship of that child. But we always want to encourage an ongoing relationship with their biological family as well, because that's who they end up going back to.
Yeah.
And so we really want people to understand that we believe in family. We believe in biological families and maintaining that relationship if at all possible.
And again, within our program, we have our own, the bio parents that come if it's a return home, they have their very own caseworker that works along with their caseworker.
Absolutely.
So that they get
okay.
one-on-one attention and that they're able to help sort through everything that's going on, because you can only imagine how hard that has to be for the bio parent also.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, talk a little bit about how you've adapted to sort of change the changing needs, because I think they have changed. I remember we were together during COVID, and that really had and changed some of the ways you were doing business.
Sure.
How have you evolved?
Yeah, no, that is a great question, and I think it evolves with the ages of the kids coming in evolve too. But I think what we're keying in on, and what a lot of our services that we're trying to evolve with, is as they evolve and they leave foster care, that they have as many tools as possible, independent living skills, shopping, whether it's learning how to save, comparing, just doing everyday things, whether it's from mowing lawn to whatever, and that's our mentor program that we have. We've also had vocational services in the past that we are continuing to incorporate now, a one-on-one vocational worker that we're going to be installing to just do one-on-one stuff, take them out on interviews, get them resumes and that kind of stuff. But right now our mentors are doing that kind of thing. The caseworkers they play their role, but the mentors and therapists, they really work on these kids as they begin to age out to try to prep them, because how scary, how terrifying that must be.
Yes.
But we try to give them as many tools as possible before they go out into the world, and then they have a resource to like I said, as I alluded to before, to refer back to and have a family.
Yeah, well, and I think that's so important. We talk a lot about child services, right? And then I think sometimes people forget, well, eventually you're not a child, you're an adult, and you have to go out into that world. And so how do we provide that wraparound support for that?
Yes.
Now, you said you're celebrating 30 years. Marissa, you've both been there 21 years, which is incredible.
Yes.
Thank you.
Why?
Yes.
Why have you stayed?
Yes. Well, I think bottom line is the difference that we make every day in the lives of children and families. I think to see the growth and families come together and stay together is so super rewarding. We have an extraordinary staff. Many of our staff are long tenured at our children's homestead, which is really remarkable in the child welfare field.
Yeah.
So we've been really fortunate to have some very committed people over the years. And I think one of the things that I enjoy the most is seeing what happens to kids after they leave us. And we have some amazing stories of kids that have come from very traumatic pasts and have really pulled it together and have become very successful. And I don't mean money, I don't mean job, I mean as people and in their lives. Absolutely. And in fact, right now, we have a wonderful story of a girl that was with our program a number of years ago. Her name is Amber. And if you go to our website, you can read her amazing story from the very difficult young life she has to what she is today. And we're not going to tell you the ending, but it is amazing.
Worth the visit.
It is.
I love
Absolutely,
that.
it is.
I
Absolutely.
love that.
Absolutely. Yes. So
I see how much everybody else cares, the veterans, and you see young people come in, and we're trying to train young adults to come in to do the same and share our vision and the mission that we have, and we hold really tight to that mission and to serve families the best way that we can, to sit there in think tanks and try to figure out the best way to some of these problems, because it can get very difficult. But I'm working with Marissa. We started on the same day, and we've been working. She's been my supervisor for majority of the time I've been here, and we have spent a lot of hours really trying to do the best we can to provide services for these children, these parents, and these homes. Yep. And I love my job. I love going to work every day, because I have people who are alongside of me who want to make that same difference.
I love that.
Our whole admin's the same way.
Well, you both are obviously clearly very committed to the mission, and the mission is certainly helping a lot of very needy children. And so we thank you for that.
Yeah.
And we thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you for having us, Jane. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. For more information about Our Children's Homestead, please come visit their website. I'd like to thank all of my guests for joining us on Spotlight, and our friends at Busey Bank for their generous sponsorship of today's show. To learn more about the organizations featured on this episode, please visit our website at nctv17.org. And to stay informed about what's happening in our community, sign up to receive our daily news update and like and follow us on social media. For Spotlight, I'm Jane Wernette. Thank you for watching.
Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor, Busey Bank.